News Panorama is a TV news magazine program that gives you the story behind the story.
It tells the stories the way they should be told by capturing the larger scale.
It deals with people's deep feelings on issues that, when brought to the fore, ultimately educates, informs, and entertains.
News Panorama. Capture the larger scale.
The Naira recorded the strongest annual performance in over a decade in 2025, appreciating by more than 7% against the United States dollar, supported by wide-range foreign exchange reforms implemented by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. The Central Bank of Nigeria's data show that the Naira strengthened further to 1,419.07 Naira against the dollar, up from 1,429.3054 Naira traded on Monday. This means that the Naira recorded 10.24 Naira against the dollar on a day-to-day basis. The reduction of fuel price, yet the cost of transportation remains the same. Inflation rates and many more are on our lineup this week. It is a must-watch. Welcome and thanks for joining me on the program News Panorama. I am Josephine Efanga. If you have just tuned in, you're watching News Panorama.
News Panorama. Capture the larger scale.
In recent weeks, Dangote Petroleum and the Nigerian Petroleum Company, NNPC, have announced reduction in the price of fuel, a development that many Nigerians hope would translate into immediate relief at the pump and corresponding drop in transportation costs. Given that fuel is a key determinant of transport fares, this move was widely expected to ease the financial burden on commuters and transport operators alike. However, despite lowered fuel prices, transportation costs have stubbornly remained high, placing continuous strain on everyday cross-variants. Ifeoma examines the disparity between reduced fuel prices and persistency in high transport fares. The reports.
A few days ago, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPC) announced a reduction in the price of premium motor spirits (PMS), a move aimed at easing the economic burdens on Nigerians and stimulating relief across key sectors, particularly transportation. The announcement was received with optimism as fuel cost remains a major determinant of transport fares across the country. It could also be recalled that last year, Dangote Petroleum Refinery also announced a downward review in the price of petrol, a decision that was widely praised and expected to complement government efforts at cushioning the effects of fuel subsidy removal. The refinery has stated that the price reduction was intended to make fuel more affordable and, by extension, reduce the cost of transportation for Nigerians. However, commercial drivers say the expected relief has not been felt at the pump stations. Speaking on the development, a commercial driver, Obong Basi, said the fuel price reduction has not reflected in most filling stations, making it difficult for drivers to reduce transport fares. He explained that drivers are still buying fuel at high prices and cannot operate at a loss. He further appealed to the government to ensure uniformity in fuel pricing across filling stations, noting that such measures would allow drivers to purchase fuel at fair prices regardless of location and ultimately pass the relief on to commuters.
That is a mere announcement. When you go to the filling station now, the price we are buying fuel is at 8.30. Meanwhile, NNPC have reduced their own. We are still buying fuel at 8.30. So what's the difference? My opinion is that if they can be able to do it to be uniform, you understand? Wherever you go, you now see the official government pump price. Maybe I go to a Tado, government pump price, I go to Edmund, government pump price. The thing of not be different. This one is selling 8.30, this one is selling 8.50 or so. So there's no uniformity.
Yes, we are buying fuel at 820 Naira from that's where I normally get the rice.
Some commuters also shared their views, describing the price reduction as a good initiative, but insisting that its impact must be visible at the pump stations. They stated that as long as fuel prices remain high at retail outlets, drivers cannot be expected to reduce transport fares. According to them, announcements alone are not enough, stressing that effective implementation and monitoring are necessary to ensure Nigerians truly benefit from the policy.
The filling station price is still high. Don't expect a trader or a businessman to go into the market, buy product costly, and sell it below the cost price. So So the ability for them to make at least a little profit out of their transport business is to raise the transport to a point where they can even have something to their pocket. So if they don't raise their transport high, they won't make anything. So the moment the price fuel goes down, they will equally complement their transport fare.
Even the filling station are not responding to that reduction, and so there's nothing the transporters going to do about it. And even though they also reflect the reduction in their selling price, I don't think that will change anything, because the standard of living is quite on the high side. That cannot change anything. If we are bringing it down to the minimal, return it to that 200 or 220, it will be okay. Life will be better.
Offering perspective on possible solutions, Apostle Abase Peter said the government and fuel distributors have a critical role to play in ensuring that price reductions are enforced. He emphasized the need for proper monitoring, transparency, and accountability in fuel distribution, adding that regulatory agencies must ensure fueling stations comply with approved prices. He noted that when fuel becomes genuinely cheaper at the pump, drivers will naturally be able to reduce transport fares, easing the burden on commuters and restoring public confidence in government policies.
The government should put in place good, honest regulatory agencies and people that are capable of doing the right thing. And these agencies should go around to check the filling stations to know if they comply with government directives. At times, it comes to discover that most of these regulatory agencies are not sincere to themselves and even to the government and to the people. How do I mean? These regulatory agencies, when they go to the filling stations, they are giving bribes, they are giving peanuts, they are giving envelopes to just look the other side, and the filling stations do whatever they feel like doing. They sell their markets, they sell their products the way they feel like selling their products without complying with government directives, which is very wrong. If the pump price is genuinely reduced and it reflects, and regulatory agencies does their job, do their part correctly, you see, it's going to make life easier for the common man.
While fuel price reductions by the NNPC and Dangote Petroleum Refinery signal positive intent, the absence of effective implementation continues to limit their impact on everyday Nigerians. The disconnect between policy announcements and on-ground realities underscores the need for stronger enforcement mechanisms to ensure that economic relief moves beyond statements and translates into tangible benefits for citizens. For CRBC News Panorama, Efiowan Ekpe Ita reporting.
In what is much needed relief for Nigerians, the country's headline inflation in November 2025 dropped to 14.45%, aligning with the president projected figure of 15% at the end of 2025 budget projected targets. Even though this has dropped, food items and other commodities are still expensive in the market, and we wonder why. Praise Chijoke brings us more on the report.
For months, inflation has been one of the strongest pressures on Nigerian households, driven by rising costs in food supply and foreign exchange instabilities. Families have had to adjust spending. Businesses have struggled with rising costs in transportation. Against that backdrop, Nigeria's inflation rate has eased to 14.45%, a figure economists describe as the mildest since October 2020. The latest data suggests that the pace at which prices are rising is beginning to slow down. Despite this decline, essential goods and services remain expensive, leaving households struggling with high cost of living. Market survey across Calabar shows that prices of food items and basic household commodities have yet to reflect the reported moderation in inflation. Residents said, despite this drop in inflation, the effect is yet to be felt in daily expenses.
I'm yet to feel the inflation drop in prices because we are still getting things in the market the same rate as before.
Price is low adaptation. So if you say it has reduced to 14%, right?
Yep.
Probably they have not started adopting it on a personal level. Maybe you go to the stores or you go to the wholesalers. They have not started adopting it. They are still keeping it in the old prices, right?
Many suggest that the prices of commodities remain high due to the cost of transportation, despite the inflation decline.
Why I feel it will fail soon is because
if the transportation price is being dropped down, I believe that most things in the market, the prices will drop. Yes, because transportation is the main thing. Yes, that's that.
Transportation rate is still very high. They're still paying the same amount. It's even higher than before, sir.
These ones remain optimistic as they believe the decline in inflation may soon be felt in market prices.
I believe so much that it will only affect the cost of things at the market and other things if the government take cognizance to what is happening. Just like number one, the cost of things would drop if only they come into place to carefully watch how things are being sold.
As Nigerians grapple with the high cost of living, many are hopeful that the downward trend in inflation will be sustained and eventually reflect in market prices, easing pressure on household incomes. For CRBC News Panorama, Bray Chijoke reporting.
In a grand display of communal spirit and political leadership, the Commissioner for Education, Senator Stephen Odey, hosted the people of Yache Nation and his supporters across the Northern Senatorial District for a New Year celebration, marked by significant philanthropic gesture and the launch of multi-million Naira empowerment initiative. The event, which drew a massive crowd of stakeholders, traditional rulers and residents across the 5 local government areas of the Northern Senatorial District, featured the distribution of vehicles, motorcycles, sewing machines, rice and millions of Naira as cash grants. The report.
Senator Stephen Odey celebrates New Year with the Yache Nation and supporters across the Northern Senatorial District distribute sewing machines, motorcycles, vehicles, bags of rice and millions of Naira. The celebration was said to be empowerment beyond politics as 2 machines were allocated to each ward of the 14 wards in Yala, alongside 17 brand new motorcycles, 2 each to Bekwara, Ogoja, Obodo, Obanliku and the rest to Yala, as well as over 200 bags of rice, grants for women and youths, brand new car to the newly installed clan head of Uchu, and millions of Naira to royal fathers, elders, party stakeholders, youth and women across the 5 local governments of the North. The Commissioner for Education, Senator Stephen Odey, emphasized that his generosity stems from gratitude for the loyalty, honesty and commitment of his supporters. He urged attendees to remain steadfast in their political allegiance, warning against jumping from party to party, stressing the importance of staying grounded. He also called for patience, persistence, and unity in building a better future for Cross River State North. Senator Odey further reiterated his alignment with Governor Bassey Otu's People's First agenda, pledging continued collaboration to drive grassroots development.
I have decided to invite you today to celebrate the New Year with us. In a small way. I recall vividly that everybody seated here, when I was in the Senate, you all voted and sent me to the National Assembly. And I believe strongly that that support you gave to me is a support I can never take for granted. Wherever I go, I always remember that these are the people that stood by me. I want to use this opportunity to thank His Excellency, the Governor of Cross River State, and the Deputy Governor of Cross River State, Senator Prince Bassey Otu, and our own son, my own brother, Right Honorable Peter Odey, PhD, the Deputy Governor, for also giving me the opportunity to serve in the state as a member of the Cross River State Executive Council, and of course, as the Commissioner for Education, Cross River State. It is important when you have a love from those on top, that love you also trickle down to those below. That is exactly what I stand for. It is not because I have, but it's because I care. And that is why I gathered you here today to celebrate the New Year.
Speaking to Cross River State House of Assembly member representing Yala 1 State constituency, Honorable Brian Odey, and Cross River State Deputy Chief of Staff, Boniface Okache, lauded Senator Stephen Odey's consistency, describing him as a tested leader whose actions speak louder than promises.
At this point, he is challenging us, the political class, challenging us by demonstrating leadership always, challenging us in the spirit of sharing, challenging us that you might not be a multi-millionaire before you start providing for your brothers and sisters.
So many people, such of this responsibility has been given to them, but they fail to keep to that responsibility. But today group is leading us well.
For their part, His Royal Highness Chief Isaac Omaji, the Yache Youth President Frank Olim Okbe, Pharmacist John Odo, and others hailed Senator Odey as a transformative figure in Yache and Cross River State North and the state at large. They stress that true leadership is measured not by titles, but by tangible and selfless service to the people.
Yesterday he does another thing, today he's doing another. Tomorrow he's still thinking of another. So God will continue to bless him. When somebody is doing something good, the only thing we need to say is to tell him thank you.
To the Cross River North, we also thank you for the support for our leader. And as we look forward to more support, God willing, we will replicate this.
This event is a symbol of our togetherness. We are stronger together, and we are gathered here to celebrate as a family.
I will continue to support you till the end of my life.
Obaniku, they are strongly behind you. That is the message. And I am assuring you that our loyalty is 100%.
As I speak with you, the governor has a very big yes. I'll be reporting directly to him what has happened today.
Some beneficiaries of the empowerment expressed gratitude to Senator Odey, noting that the support arrived at a critical time amid economic pressures, as the empowerment will help improve their economic well-being.
I feel good with this motorcycle. I'm like, wow, this is a great achievement for me. I'm so much happy. I am very grateful for my leader for finding worthy in giving me this motorcycle. I give thanks,
and that is why all things are coming out.
That, God that I serve will never fail. What is this for me today? I appreciate. God will really provide more for him anywhere you also for this for us.
The event also marked the official handover of the newly refurbished APC Secretariat office in Yache Ward, fulfilling a long-standing promise to provide the party with a permanent local base. For CRBC News Panorama, Josephine Efanga.
On Monday, January 5, 2026, the head of service of Cross River State, Mr. Orokokon, led a surprise inspection visit across key ministries, departments, and agencies to assess the level of staff resumption after a festive break. Our correspondent Blessing Basi reports that the head of service was accompanied by the senior officials, and the visit was aimed to verify compliance with work resumption directive, emphasizing the exercise was part of the ongoing effort to ensure accountability, productivity, and discipline across the civil service, especially after reports of laxity during the holiday season, the report.
In a bid to stop lazy behavior, late arrival, sloppy work, and to boost efficiency, growth, and good service, the government is cracking down on poor work habits in the civil service so as to deliver better, faster, and more responsible working environments for everyone. A few days ago, the Cross River State Head of Service, Mr. Orok Okun, during a resumption inspection, visited the Ministry of Women Affairs, Human Capital and Entrepreneurial Development, Wealth Creation, Establishment, Training and Pension, Lands, Justice, Humanitarian Affairs, and Poverty Alleviation. In some departments like the Ministry of Women Affairs and that of Primary, Secondary Educational Board, staff were seen actively cleaning and tidying their offices, removing debris and organizing files, while some staff were seen loitering outside their offices, chatting idly, pressing phones, as well as absent from their duty post. The head of service urged all Ministry of Heads to reinforce attendance monitoring, enforce desk discipline, and lead by example towards maintaining accountability, development, and betterness for the state and country at large.
The public service is a rare privilege which every employee has to respect. It is as the need may arise. If we find that there's a lull in attendance, then we may decide to check. Because if we find that attendance is optimal, then it may be academic.
The Permanent Secretary, Public Service Office, Mrs. Glory Odoji, expressed disappointment at the lax attitude displayed by some officers. She noted that while many staff showed commendable diligence, others appeared to treat the resumption date as optional. She reminded all officers that public service is not a place for leisure, rather it is a platform for duty, discipline, and development.
A lot came late today, and we've directed that those who did not sign before crossing the time group, we've directed that they be queried and compete the office of head of service. We need to sit up. We can't continue like this. Everybody needs to be alert and active.
The head of service, Mr. Rock Okon, commended ministries that demonstrated readiness and professionalism. He urged staff to recommit to their oaths of office and reminded them that public service is a privilege, not a right.
What we saw was not bad for the first day after Christmas holidays. The attendance was good. There's nowhere that we met zero attendance. Neither was anywhere we made 50%, it was above average. So I think the heads are doing well, and I want to encourage them and urge them to not rest on their horse, but keep striving.
For CRBC News Panorama, Blessing Bassi reporting.
The chairman of the Nigerian Youth Congress NYC Cross River State Chapter, Comrade Francis Ofiono, has called on young people across the state to cultivate self-resilience, uphold peace, and remain law-abiding citizens. Speaking at the press briefing held at the NS Bassi Press Center, Calabar, Comrade Ofiono emphasized that the future of Cross River State lies in the hands of its youth, but only if they reject idleness, embrace hard work, and refuse to be tools of division or unrest. Blessing Bassi has details of the report.
The Nigerian Youth Congress NYC Cross River State Chapter is said to be committed to upholding peace, progress, orderliness, and responsibility. However, it is not as slogans, but are daily guiding principles to promote a culture where young people prioritize dialogue over discard, hard work over idleness, and civic duty over chaos. In Cross River State, the chairman Nigerian Youth Congress NYC Cross River State Chapter, Comrade Ofiono, during a press briefing highlighted that true empowerment begins with personal responsibility. He urged young people to take ownership of their destinies by acquiring skills, staying focused on education and entrepreneurship, and avoiding involvement in criminal activities or political thuggery. He also warned against youth energy being used as exploit for selfish interests, stressing that peace and unity are non-negotiable for sustainable growth.
No youth organization can function outside the law. It brings me to clarify the status of the Nigerian youth, of the National Youth Council of Nigeria, not as the center of this briefing, but as part of the broader governance discussion. The Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, withdrew the certificate of registration of the NYCN. The Federal Ministry of Youth Development suspended the NYCN from operating. Consequently, NYCN currently lacks legal and administrative recognition in Cross River State and in the nation as a whole.
He also warned against youth energy being used as exploit for selfish interests, stressing that peace and unity are non-negotiable for sustainable progress. Comrade Ofiono called on all stakeholders, including parents, traditional leaders, religious institutions, and government agencies, to support youth development through mentorship, access to resources, and fair opportunities. He said that there are plans rolled out for mentorship programs, vocational training, and civic education workshops across the state to equip young people with tools for self-reliance. He further maintained that the NYCN is under strict monitoring based on its past activities while awaiting positive feedbacks.
The Nigerian Youth Congress aligns itself with the policies of the Cross River State government, national youth development frameworks, democratic governance principles. We are partners in development, not pressure groups for disruption.
Similarly, past youth forums have stressed the importance of education, skill acquisition, and peaceful conflict resolutions as pillars for reducing youth restiveness and building a stable society. However, with this effort, it reflects a broader recognition that empowered, disciplined youth are vital to Cross River State's development agenda under Governor Bassi Ededotu's People First policy. For CRBC News Panorama, Blessing Bassi reporting.
That is all we have on our lineup this week. We hope to be back same time next week. Do keep a date with us. I am Josephine Efanga. For updates and engagement, follow us on our official social media handles: Facebook at CRBC, X formerly Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at CRBC Online, YouTube at CRBC New Media, WhatsApp on 090-377-87474. We look forward to connecting with you.